Good evening, I'm your host, Jack Remington of the Jack Remington Political Analyst Channel. Good to be back. It's been over 5 weeks. Got another leak in the roof. Had a tornado hit down here about 1.5 miles from my house. And just the rain and the wind just tore the roof up. And so this is the fourth and final time. And I'll stick a picture up here and I'll show you what it looks like. Today's video is about the rule of law being destroyed in this country. Yesterday, this Manhattan District Attorney of New York City, Alvin Bragg, set forth the indictment of former President Donald Trump. It's been in the front page news the last several days. With New York City with its crime rates and everything, and that'll be on part 2. He is soft on crime. He's letting murderers and rapists go, turnstile jumpers, misdemeanor people, but violent crime, he's letting them go too. But he's got to save the republic. He's got to get Donald Trump. You know, Donald Trump's a threat. He doesn't even live there anymore. I guess the payoff to the Stormy Daniels took place in New York City somewhere. Supposedly this indictment is supposed to be sealed, but no matter which video you watch on YouTube or when you turn the TV on, you'll hear 30 counts and 32 counts. Last I heard was 34 counts, and the numbers keeps going up and up and up. So you know how that leaks, you know, like the Supreme Court leak. One side always leaks and the other side is much more professional. I never heard of any Republican source things leaked at all. It's always the Democrats that leak the things out to make it look really worse than what it really is. That's part of their plan, the smear campaign. The character assassination is total destroying of people and their lives and careers. They're really good at that. They've had 200 years of practice at that. This unprecedented indictment of a former president who's also the front runner for the GOP, the timing stinks. We'll get to timing later. So this New York City, this Manhattan Attorney General, Alvin Bragg, he campaigned on his desire to prosecute Donald Trump when he was running for the office. I don't know why people in New York City turned on Donald Trump, but he was good for them. The skating rink people, he did a lot of things for New York City, gave a lot of money away. I'd like to see Donald Trump take back all the money he gave these people for 47 years. The Trump brand has been enforced for 47 years, and Donald Trump's the CEO of the Trump Incorporated brand. When Donald Trump gets on Air Force One, he's getting on a smaller plane. So he's done a lot for New York City, but they forgot all that and their hatred. Here's Alvin Bragg 2 months ago in an interview, and I'll just play this and let you hear this.
You had a nice month with Donald Trump. You were successful with the Trump prosecution, shall we say. But you didn't feel like the law goes far enough. $1.6 million for a violation of that nature. What would be appropriate?
We need a statute that is elastic, that will allow for, when you have something like this, a systemic, decades plus fraud, to have fines that are not just something that can be priced in by, a multi-million-dollar corporation.
So what should the number be?
So I think the number really depends on the facts, and so that's where we're working with our partners in Albany, so that we have a statute that can deal with sort of maybe something that's more of an isolated fraud and done by a corporation, to then something that is more pervasive.
The facts, as you know, in this case, right. What should it be in this case?
Well, I'm not going to comment on I know we've just had our sentencing, but as I've said, our investigation more broadly is ongoing, so I'm not going to comment on that matter.
To that end, you said you're going to move on to the next chapter when it comes to the Trump organization. Still outstanding, the Stormy Daniels case, right? Did he pay hush money to her? The value of his assets case. Did he manipulate it up or down? Was it advantageous for tax purposes? I know you can't comment on these ongoing cases, but should he be held accountable? It says he's a victim of a witch hunt. His attorneys say you don't understand the tax laws in this last case. They're hinting at maybe you don't know what you're doing. Should he be held accountable?
So first, the jury has so held, and the judge has done the sentencing. So I think that speaks for itself.
So that's awful funny how Alvin Bragg can't really say that he's put forth this indictment. He's saying that the people did it. Isn't that clever? And he's doing it again and again. So more on part 2 in a couple of days. What I want to talk about is the state of the candidacy for both parties right now. On the Democrat side, we got Joe Biden. I'm going to run. I'm going to beat Trump again. I'm going to beat him again. He hasn't put together the nuts and bolts of the campaign. He hasn't set him loose yet. Maybe it's not time yet. There's actual questions. Well, not part of my notes. This is take 3. There's actually some speculation he might drop Kamala Harris from the ticket. She's at 12% in the polling. No vice president has ever polled. Even Dick Cheney didn't poll that low. Marianne Williamson declared her candidacy a couple weeks ago. So we got 2 people so far on the Democratic side. Okay, there's 15 people on the GOP side right now, and they've all come out of the woodwork because they feel that Donald Trump is finished, or this is their chance to get him. But this timing, Okay, 3 days ago, Donald Trump was over 60%, the highest. I mean, he was pulling away from DeSantis and everybody else. DeSantis went from 28% down to 22%, but today he's at 25. He's jumped 3 points in a couple of days. Why? Well, he made this statement here on the other video here, and play that for you.
But I do know this: the Manhattan District Attorney is a Soros-funded prosecutor, and so he, like other Soros-funded prosecutors, they weaponize their office to impose a political agenda on society at the expense of the rule of law and public safety. He has downgraded over 50% of the felonies to misdemeanors. He says he doesn't want to even have jail time for the vast, vast majority of crimes. And what we've seen in Manhattan is we've seen the crime rate go up, and we've seen citizens become less safe. And so you're talking about this situation with, and look, I don't know what goes into paying hush money to a porn star to secure silence over some type of alleged affair. I can't speak to that.
He didn't need to say that. It was very clever of Ron DeSantis to do that. And I don't think he had it in him, but he does. But you know and I know that you're a governor or you're a senator, you're a House of Representatives, you want to be president. You just do. And that's fine. I'm not knocking that. I became a casino worker. I was a brush man, and I became a dealer, then I became a floor man. I wanted to be the top guy. You know, you're the assistant manager and the manager. I mean, we all want to move to the top. That's life. That's great. That's our system. Let's go over these candidates here. The ones that have declared on the GOP side is Donald Trump, of course, and Nikki Haley. She has a different name. They just call her Nikki for short. She's of Eastern Indian, of Punjab descent, 2-term South Carolina governor, and she was Donald Trump's foreign affairs lady. And she did some good work with the United Nations, supposedly. I didn't really follow her that closely, but she stabbed Donald Trump at least twice in the back. So I don't like her, and I want her to get trounced. One of them was this January 6th crap. She said, well, I would never run against Donald Trump if he's running. Well, she's changed her mind, apparently, and then she come up with some story. A pretty good story. I got to admit, it's kind of a good story. Well, I'm going to call the former president. I'm going to ask him what he thinks I should do because I'm confused. I'm conflicted. She calls him, and I guess she was expecting him to blast her. But he didn't. For once, he kept his big mouth shut, or he contained it. He goes, you do what your heart tells you to do, Nikki. You want to run, you go ahead and run. Thank you. And he handled it perfectly. She couldn't criticize him. I think she's trying to bait Donald Trump, and it didn't work. But this January 6th crap really got my crawl. She's criticizing Donald Trump for something he said about the January 6th thing. You know, go peacefully protest and make your voices heard. And she's using that to say that he started the insurrection. Well, if she ever became successful in her endeavors, they can do the same thing to her. They don't think that way. These politicians, they're the smartest people on the planet, but they make mistakes too. And Nikki Haley made her biggest mistake with me, saying, well, we need younger people, my age or younger, to start running the government and start doing things because we got the great new ideas. She sounded like a Democrat. A lot of women are Democrats. That's just how they are. Everything is emotional, everything's feelings, and all this make things equal. That's a woman for you, okay? Haley's a Republican. Maybe she's a rhino, a Republican name only. So when she says that, I mean, she's spitting in my face, and my thoughts my experience doesn't count. People our age that have been there and got the experience, we don't count. So I hope she gets trounced hard. And we got Vice President Mike Pence has declared he had a chance to make things right. He didn't. We'll never defend him ever again. I hope he gets trounced too. Next guy, Vivek Ramaswamy. He's a retired hedge fund manager, made billions of dollars, a rich guy now. He may even have more money than Donald Trump, which is a threat. He's funding his own campaign. He says all the right things. He's also Eastern Indian descent of Punjab like Nikki Haley. And he's probably a decent candidate. But I don't know why he thinks he can do better than Donald Trump did in the 4 years Donald Trump was in office. I like the man or don't like the man. He had great policies. He kept us out of war and kept our asses safe. And the gas was $1.75 a gallon here in California. And there was Joe Biden, the other was $8 a gallon. He did that. And this Perry Johnson guy, I don't know much about Perry Johnson other than he failed to qualify for the ballot in his last campaign for Michigan governor in 2022. He was disqualified due to signature fraud. He had to get so many signatures to qualify for the ballot. He blamed the vendor, and rendering the more than $7 million he loaned to his campaign wasted. He wasted $7 million on this. You can trust a guy like that? But he's declared. Thinking about running, okay, Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida is thinking about running, and he'll announce sometime in June. We'll go back to that with the timing. Abbott of Texas thinking. John Bolton, he said something today, but well, Donald Trump gets indicted, maybe I won't get in the race. I need to keep him out, blah, blah, blah. I mean, stabbed Trump in the back again. So I hate that piece of shit. And he never saw a war or military conflict that he didn't like. Asa Hutchinson's thinking about it. He's a former governor of Arkansas. He was also the impeachment manager in 1998 during Bill Clinton's impeachment. He's thinking about it. South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, who I think is outstanding, and she's a better governor than Ron DeSantis. I'm going to say this right now. She's the only governor out of 50 states, one governor, that did not have the lockdowns during this scamdemic, this COVID-19 crap. Okay, she said let the people decide. They can make their own health decisions. I thought, wow, this is fantastic. Your buddy Ron DeSantis, the people that their savior, save us from Donald Trump, he was pretty draconian with his lockdowns first few weeks. And people lost their businesses. And I heard about it. I got friends in Florida. I got eBay vendors in Florida. And Ron DeSantis shut them down, cost them their livelihoods. And then when he saw Kristi Noem do what she did, and he kind of, I better back off here. And him and Abbott of Texas talked about it. Abbott did the same thing. It was pretty draconian first couple of weeks, wasn't he? No one talks about that anymore because they want to get rid of Donald Trump. Who's thinking about it is Mike Pompeo. I think is the best candidate on the whole board here, other than Donald Trump. Mike Pompeo would be a great United States president. He's got the chops. He's got the smarts. Former CIA director. Like George H.W. Bush. So he was a machinist. He's the blue-collar worker type. We need a regular guy like that in there. And I've watched a couple of his interviews, and I've followed him a little bit. He's the best candidate on the whole board here, other than Donald Trump. Mike Rogers, he used to be some kind of a politician, but he got into broadcasting. He wants to come back. Tim Scott of South Carolina. I like Tim Scott. He's senator for South Carolina. He's a pretty good guy. I like Tim Scott. He loves this country. If he's acting, then I'm going to put him in my next student movie. Chris Sununu, he's a 4-time governor of New Hampshire. And he even won the state when Donald Trump lost in 2020. He's like this Nikki Haley. He stabbed Donald Trump in the back several times. And it's January 6th. I'm going to lock him up. But the same thing could happen to him. And he doesn't think that way. He's a horse with the blinders on. They're not thinking to the outside like the Democrats. So maybe he's another rhino. And Chris Christie, New Jersey, what a fat piece of work he is. Called him Bridgegate. I don't know how he got out of that, but he did. He's 2-term Republican governor of a Democrat state, New Jersey. Believe that. He beat the mob rap. He was supposed to be linked to the mob and everything else. And you can't prove it. Instead of saying that's not true, he said you can't prove it. I thought, wow. Reminds me of the guy on The Sopranos. I just don't like Chris Christie. He kept stabbing Trump in the back. And there's more than one. And January 6th wasn't the only one. So I want Chris Christie to get beached like a whale. By the way, he was caught at the beach when he kicked everybody else off the beach during COVID, but him and his family was there. Someone caught him. They all get caught, don't they? Like Gavin Newsom too, right? Let me get back to DeSantis and his timing, okay? Ron DeSantis has got the most to lose. Ron DeSantis is making some rookie mistakes, and he made some rookie mistakes when he first became governor of the state of Florida. Now, you got to remember, he was in a dogfight with this Andrew Gillum guy, the black guy, and they were getting ready to announce the recount because it was within the guidelines of the recount. But the next day, Ron DeSantis got saved because Andrew Gillum was found in the gay bathhouse naked with the heroin coming out of his mouth on the floor, incapacitated. They had to pick him up on a stretcher and put him in a detox room, where they call it, for 3 days until he got out of that little mini coma he was in. That was that. There was no recount. But I'm telling you, the last 10 recounts between a House member or a governor in the last 35 years, the Democrats have won them all. And twice in the state of Washington. Remember Governor Bourgeois, the woman, she beat out that guy. I can't remember the guy's name. He ran out of money. He had to stop the recounts. And she won by 58 votes, whatever the hell it was. But he was winning by 2,000 when the election was called that time. Remember, Washington State's got the mail-in ballots, and Washington, Oregon had the mail-in ballots. The Republicans have never won a major race there in those two states. They never will ever again. Think about that. Well, anyway, so DeSantis is lucky to be the governor, because the Democrats don't lose recounts, okay? And then Brenda Stipes was still the election division manager until DeSantis finally woke up and got rid of her, okay? Because he knows he has to get rid of her. And I guarantee Gillum wins that. He wins that recount, and he's not the governor, so he's very lucky. Number one, but number two, he's got the most to lose. Number three, he's making the most mistakes. If he gets head-to-head with Donald Trump is a savage beast campaigning. Knocked down 16 well-funded, popular alternatives to 2016 to run against Hillary, and Trump, he beat them all. He 10-pinned them all. Strike, strike, strike. I mean, especially Jeb Bush. I like that one. And Trump is a beast. He takes no prisoners. That's the kind of president I want. I don't want some mean mamby-pamby. Oh, it's okay. No, I want a tough guy up there. Donald Trump is that man. DeSantis doesn't strike me that way. DeSantis made a first rookie mistake was when he was governor. Well, he could have stopped it. This bill about the felons voting in Florida, he went along with it. He's pandering for votes, pushed for this Ukraine crap. He all but got up there and said that he's all for Ukraine, giving the money to Ukraine and go get them. What the hell is this? And he also he slipped about the Social Security issue. He'd been thinking about cutting benefits because we're going to go broke or something like that. I thought, DeSantis, you need to shut up about Social Security. You don't want that political hotball in your career. Battling Disney, and Disney they won their first appeal last week. I think the case got split into 5 different cases. Well, and Disney won. They won round 1. DeSantis has no comment. He's making rookie mistakes. I mean, he's doing things that are not good. When he gave the one speech when he's bad-mouthing Donald Trump, he was in New York City. What was he in New York City for? He was meeting with the Wall Street bankers, meeting with the donors. So he's been meeting with the donors to fund the 2024 election. They've approached DeSantis. You got to know that. Have you seen the ads? Who would you vote for, DeSantis or Joe Biden? Well, they were already trying to get Donald Trump out of the picture. They want DeSantis, Gavin Newsom's in-laws. This is Gavin Newsom, the governor of my state, California, Democrat governor. Okay, the slick hair, bang your wife, Gavin Newsom. He cheats on his wife and everything. That guy. Okay, the French Laundry. I don't have to wear a mask. I'm the governor. Everybody else got to wear a mask, but him. So, and he got caught. His kids went to the private school, and the kids don't have to wear a mask. All the other kids did, but not his. Gavin Newsom was all for it. He gave the illegal aliens all this money, and you couldn't get a dime from your taxes in California. That guy. I could go on and on about Gavin Newsom. This video, I'm talking about DeSantis. Gavin Newsom's in-laws gave money for the presidential campaign, not his governor campaign, his presidential campaign. Then why would they do that? Because they want to get rid of Donald Trump. They know if Donald Trump gets back in office, he's going to stop the Ukraine war. He may even claw the money back and make these people pay that money back to the treasury that they stole from. It's not their money. It's our money. It's our grandkids' money. It's not their money to give to this foreign country. They don't give a shit about us. And Zelensky, he's a Nazi war criminal as far as I'm concerned. He's got Nazis fighting for him. Is that what you want? I don't want that. Well, you're a Russian stooge. Well, guess what? I don't care. If these 2 gang members down the street are going to have a gunfight, well, number one, I'm going to get myself clear so I don't get shot by mistake or a stray bullet or a ricochet bullet. Okay, I'm going to get out of the line of fire. I hope they shoot each other and kill each other is what I'm rooting for. Okay, I'm not going to choose a side. But if I find out that one of them's got a nuclear bomb and the other one doesn't, I'm going to root for the one with the nuclear bomb. I need him to win because the one that's trying to win, he might set off that nuclear bomb. So, I have to root for Russia. And if Russia can somehow, they could crush him in 2 days as far as I'm concerned. And they haven't. They've been toying back and forth. They're probably getting a cut of the action. And that's a different video for a different day. But DeSantis, he's making some rookie mistakes. And even Dick Morris, Dick Morris is the Tom Brady of political analysts. Even Dick Morris said that DeSantis is making some serious mistakes here. He's got the most to lose. And I agree with that. If he gets to a slugfest with Donald Trump, he ruins his 2024 chances. Because there'll be 17 more clowns coming in 2028. He will lose. Trump's got that experience being a president. And I thought he was a successful president. Got the jobs, got people working, lowest unemployment ever for Black Americans, Latino Americans, women. You name the minority, Trump put them to work. Trump got the jobs back. The economy was rocking. Inflation 1.2%. What's it now? 11%? 11.7%? I could go on and on. I'm telling you, Trump, is like him or not, he's got great policies. So I'm going to close this. This is part 1. Sad thing to say. But it shows the values of Americans. They just don't care anymore about what we used to care about many, many decades ago and for 2 centuries. That's because they keep importing people that don't have our values. To begin with, they want to take. They have nothing to offer. They have nothing to give. It's a sad day because they know Donald Trump can win 2024, which I still maintain he's not going to win. They're going to find a way. They're going to cheat again. They're going to do, the next step's assassination. And I hate to say that. I mean, we're getting to that point where Trump is he's such a threat to them. Okay, this game show host, this is a TV reality star with The Apprentice, the casino magnate, this real estate mogul, this skyscraper magnate. He had a Trump Incorporated brand for 47 years. Okay, he's employed over 800,000 people in that 47-year period. They've paid something like $70 billion worth of employment taxes over the years. I mean, this Trump Incorporated, he's done a lot of things for this country. Okay, he worked that business he borrowed $1 million from his father, Fred. Okay, I'm sure he didn't have to pay it back, but still, he took $1 million, turned it into what it is today. When he gets on Air Force One, he has to get on a smaller plane. Okay, I'm telling you, and Trump lost $1.3 billion of his own money in that 4-year period he was president because all his businesses had to be put into a trust managed by, I think it was his sons. And his sons are not him. And they lost all that money. So now Trump's back. You know, the last couple of years, he's building it back up. Stay tuned for part 2. But watch the graphics and maybe something will stick in your brain and you'll think, now I know where this guy's coming from. But the rule of law is destroyed in this country. And I hate to say that. So stay tuned for the next video. I'm Jack Remington. God bless America. Thank you.